Hey, friend, and welcome to Perfect Periods, the place where we discuss how to navigate different periods of life while perfecting our actual period. What, like it's hard? I'm your host, fertility awareness educator, Berri on Berri, but you can call me Berri. Here, you'll be educated, equipped, and empowered with all the tools, knowledge, and resources you need to master your cycle so you can master your life. Now grab your favorite beverage and maybe a notebook, and let's dive right on in. Hello, Flow Tribe. What is up, guys? And welcome back to another episode. So today's episode is all about how to advocate for yourself when it comes to navigating your condition, but also just overall, because advocating for yourself when it comes to health is super important. And you guys know me, it's not what you say, it's the way you say it. So I really want to get tangible with you. Now, before we delve into how to actually advocate for yourself, let me set you up for success. We're going to talk about what advocacy actually is, why it matters. We're also going to touch on the patient bill of rights just a wee little bit so you feel a little bit more confident as you're speaking with your physician. But I also want to go ahead and say this. Communication and the way you do it is there is an art to doing this, okay? And I think a lot of times people feel as if they're being gaslighted or dismissed by their practitioners, their physicians, whoever, because of the way that they are actually delivering it, right? So remember, it's not what you say, it's the way you say it. And let's just know that I really am not trying to open up a can of worms, but I know this might ruffle a few feathers, but y'all know me, if anybody's going to say it, right, it's going to be me. So with that being said, I want to start this off by saying whatever you are experiencing and feeling when it comes to your interactions with your physician, your practitioner, your OBGYN, your feelings really do matter. They are completely valid. But also remember that feelings are not facts. So before you jump to any conclusions, you want to tell anybody off, just take a breather, And the reason I'm saying this is because I remember what it felt like to get dismissed. And now the relationship I have with my practitioner is just we're besties, because I am asking these hard questions, and I've also learned how to articulate things so that no one feels as if I'm stepping on their toes, okay? With that being said, let's talk about what it means to advocate. So advocacy really is all about getting support from people, right? To help you express your views, your wishes, and really help you stand up for your rights. That is essentially advocacy in a nutshell. But you might be thinking, okay, great, but I need to know how to advocate for myself, right? So the way you start advocating for yourself starts with information. You want to be fully informed about what your concerns are, what your issues are. So one of the things that, my friends that are doctors, I have several friends who are doctors, they're everyone keeps asking me for a hormone panel, and they don't even know why they're asking for it. And I laugh so hard. I'm probably because they're listening to my podcast, but also because hormones really give people data, a baseline, but a primary care physician or an OBGYN actually may not do labs, and that's okay, right? So you actually need to understand what you're asking for, why you're asking for it, and who you should be asking. That's one thing, right? But the second thing is understanding why you want these things, guys. I say this with love, but if you're asking for a complete hormone panel because you've watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians or something, that's not a good enough reason. You want to have a hormone panel because maybe you just want a baseline for understanding your health, right? Perhaps you want a hormone panel because you think perhaps you have a specific condition like endometriosis or fibroids or PCOS or endometriosis, things like that. And so you understand hey, there's a chance I might have this specific condition. And I know that if these hormone levels are out of whack at a different point in my cycle, then it could mean that, or could confirm that I'm dealing with said condition, right? And with certain conditions like endometriosis, like you actually have to go through surgery. You have to have a laparoscopy for them to know for sure. Sure, you can have somebody look at these like biomarkers, right? Have someone look at these like different levels of hormones, but like there's no way to know for sure without going, wow, that was hard, undergoing surgery or going under the knife, right? So like keep that in mind, okay? So know what you're asking for and why you're asking it. Next, I want you to know how to communicate, like how to actually talk to people. Communication is 55% nonverbal, and really that means body language. Communication is 55% body language. It's 38% tonality and 7% words. Again, it's not what you say, it's the way you say it. So I have a lot of people who will come to me and be like, Berri, I need your help. I need to get help from my doctor and I don't know how to say it. Like, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I just want help. So this is exactly like pretty much the script I give. Hey, doc, I know you're really busy. So I was wondering if you or someone on your team or someone you know can help me get X, Y, and Z, because I'm looking into improving my health overall. And I know there's things I can be doing while not being present here. So I just want to have a baseline of where to start from. And the reason you want to say that is because, one, you want to acknowledge that your doctor is busy. Okay. Two, you want to acknowledge the fact that it may not be your doctor who's doing the lab testing. It may not be your doctor doing your blood tests, right? It's often like a nurse or someone like that. So be mindful of that. And number three, because it's not always your doctor, you want to be like, you don't want your doctor to like be overwhelmed. You want to say like, refer me out to somebody. But if you say, or someone you know, like someone you refer me to, it's a lot better than being like, just give me a referral, like a referral is kind of like aggressive almost. So you want to say that. More often than not, your doctor will point you in the right direction, or they'll send you to the receptionist, office manager, and say, hey, they need X, Y, and Z. Okay, so again, you want to phrase it this way because oftentimes the doctor has got someone to see right after you. They've probably seen several people before you. And while that's not the most ideal feeling, it is the best thing that you can do to advocate for yourself. Now, let me share with you I wouldn't call this like a secret weapon, but it like low-key is, because I feel like a lot of people don't know this. But there is something called the Patient Bill of Rights. So for those of you who feel as if you are being dismissed by your healthcare provider, this is really for you. I really want to share some of the Patient Bill of Rights with you. Now, there's about 15, okay? But I'm just going to touch on 8 of them. So first and foremost, you obviously have the right to emergency treatment, especially if you're at a hospital. Second, you have the right to respect, okay? Like no type of discrimination, regardless of your sex, your race, your age, where you're from, your ethnicity, your religion, none of that. Like literally, it's RESPCT, find out what it means to me. RESPCT, take care of me. Okay, that was a little extra, but like I couldn't help myself. 1 and 2, it is important that you know that you do deserve to be treated with respect. So in the event that you're being disrespected, you need to bring that to the attention of whoever's in charge of handling like patient complaints, kind of like HR, but for like hospitals and private practices, okay? Next, you have the right of informed consent. Oh my gosh. Informed consent, informed consent, informed consent. Let me say it one more time for the people in the back. Informed consent. You might think that I'm being extra when I'm saying this, but this is the one that practitioners, doctors, just people in charge miss out so much on, is informing people of what's going on, what they're consenting to. And really, in order for you to advocate for yourself, you need to start questioning what you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, what's going in your body, on your body, and all about your body. That is truly the best way to advocate for yourself, is to be fully informed about what in the panties is going on, okay? That is like my favorite one, because I just think That's not the one people are used to. You also have the right to refuse treatment. Believe it or not, from an ethical perspective, physicians and other healthcare professionals have a responsibility or a duty to really protect the patient and their health. At the end of the day, though, it is your decision whether or not you get a specific treatment. Now, I'm going to say this, and this might piss a few people off. You know how it was optional to get vaccinated or not, but if you went into a doctor's office, it almost felt like they were pushing it on you? You actually have the right to refuse. Whether or not you knew it is not, that doesn't matter. That is something that, like, that's a whole different conversation. That's something you could have actually refused, right? So if you got it done because you felt like you had to get it done, I can't do anything about it now, right? But like, that's something that got to be refused, and people don't know that. That's not even a medical treatment. That was an optional injection, right? But you got to say yes or no at the end of the day, even though there were so many different things at stake, you know? So I think it's important that you understand you actually have the right to refuse treatment. So for instance, if somebody was diagnosed with PCOS and somebody was being told them, like their doctor said, get on birth control, you could say no. That's one of your rights as part of the patient of Bill of Rights, and your doctor couldn't say anything about it, right? So like, that's something to keep in mind as well. The next right that you have is the right to choose your provider. Wow, what a concept. I know that not all providers take all insurance, right? But I know it's really important that you realize that you can choose. So a lot of times people don't realize this, but if you are in a specific like practice, right? So say for instance, you're in a medical practice and you're going to see the same physician you've seen, or better yet, you've seen the same OBGYN for the last 4 years. And then all of a sudden, you and that OBGYN disagree, but there's another OBGYN at that same practice. You could actually say, you know what? I want to see this other person. And like, obviously, you don't want to do that and ruffle any feathers. Like, don't do it in a shitty way. Oops, sorry, moms. Don't do it in a way that's really distasteful, okay? Do it in a way that says, hey, you know what? Like, I would like to get like a second opinion. Is there another OBGYN available that I can see? I just want to make sure they have my medical history, and I just want to have like, you know, a little bit more confidence. Say it kind of like that, because let me tell you, baby, that is the good stuff that they don't tell you. Like, they really don't tell you about that. So I'm gonna hook you up, okay? You also have the right to privacy, okay? That's a basic thing. Like, you don't actually get to be discriminated or humiliated or anything like that, okay? You also have the right to appeal. Okay. You have the right to review or appeal any of the complaints against your physician, hospitals, healthcare providers. You can literally talk about the adequacy of treatment. You can talk about how long the wait time is, healthcare personnel. You could talk about operating. You can like literally complain about anything. But I gotta be honest with you, that's not really like the fun part, right? Like, we all know that woman's name that starts with a K and ends with a Ren, right? You don't want to come across that way when it comes to like your health, because like it's just not the vibe. Like, it makes people not want to help you. So again, not what you say, but rather the way you say it. So for instance, if you go in to see your OBGYN and you feel like that was like way too fast and you felt like dismissed, you can actually like leave feedback like, hey, you know, I would really appreciate if I had more time to like feel relaxed and like, you know, talk with my doctor. Is there any way that we can have like a longer window of time together? You can like ask for things like that. It's just feedback at the end of the day. And then, you know, also you have to remember like there are also responsibilities of you as a patient, right? You have to be active in your own treatment, which is why you listen to podcasts like this where I'm informing you and you're learning different things. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I had rights as a patient, right? And so now that you do know, you get to go advocate for yourself in a tasteful way. Now listen, I'm going to tell y'all the truth right now, okay? Don't go walking into your doctor's office, stirring the pot, acting up. Don't do that. Do not do that, sis. Don't do that. Okay. Like I know you think I'm being dramatic, but I'm being serious, because I think a lot of times what it is people will hear a podcast like this, take a lot of things I'm saying out of context, and then be like, I have this, and then like feel a little salty when they're not getting the support that they need. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? So don't do that. Don't do that, girl. Don't be that kind of person. Just take what you're learning here and know that you do have rights as a patient. You should not be disrespected as a patient. You should not be gaslit, right? You should not be ignored. You can actually ask for a second opinion, especially if there's another OBGYN. You can actually ask for a referral out, especially if somebody is just not doing what you need them to be doing. If they're not giving what you need them to give, remember this: doctors are hired help just like everybody else. I said what I said and I meant it. I say it with love, but I just want to share that. So I hope that this episode has really just left you feeling a little bit more empowered, really helps you feel like you can advocate for yourself in a deeper way and really understand what you're asking for and why you're asking for it. If you loved today's episode, make sure you let me know on Instagram. And also, it has been a very, very long time since I've opened up my roster for one-on-one practitioner support. But if you are looking to work with a practitioner to really optimize your hormonal health, your fertility, and just overall well-being, please send me an email to hello@optimizeyourflow.com, because the practice is available for you. It is 100% virtual, and I would absolutely love to work with you in a one-on-one container. So again, email hello@optimizeyourflow. And as always, I'm sending you big love, flowy vibes. Love you, mean it. Hey friend, if you enjoyed today's episode, can you do me a solid and leave a rating and review? And if you have some friends going through a different period of life where they want a little bit more peace, or perhaps they just want a better period, make sure you share this with them, because here we're all about having a period and a life, an enjoyable one at that. As always, I'm sending big love and flowy vibes.